have to coordinate lots of different announcements. It's oh, it's a lot, especially in the university world. Let's just say that. University protocols, you know, this happens, that happens, this, blah, blah, blah. And now it's out. It's done. I couldn't sleep last night because I kept thinking about all this stuff. So.
Well, the word is out and it's good news.
Yeah, it is. I think she'll be great. And, you know, yesterday she and I talked a bit about, you know, a dean can, you know, entertain a lot. And so Sarah Gardiel was definitely into entertaining in her home a lot. And I think Amy will be kind of a combination of some at home, but she really talked about how she wants to make sure that, especially when alumni come back, that we are taking them into Iowa City and showcasing some of the great things that Iowa City has. So I think that's a great way to think about it.
Very good.
All right, we'll get started in about a minute. Good to see our numbers rising.
Welcome, everybody. Thanks for signing into the chat too, and letting me know if there are guests and that sort of thing. Somebody has their hand raised who's on a phone. Is that intentional? Okay. The last 3 digits of the number are 427.
And if, got it. Perhaps they're just enthusiastic about joining our meeting.
Perhaps.
As I know all of you are, right? I do think that last week our joint service club luncheon was actually quite nice. I really appreciate it. I thought it went really well. And I loved Charlie Funk's moment of gratitude and positivity. And I really loved hearing from the other service clubs about kind of their various missions and things like that. So I think it worked out quite well. A lot of good work being done in the community. Okay, well, great. I will go ahead and get started. Thank you, everybody. My name is Barb Thomas, and I'm the president of the Iowa City Noon Rotary Club this year. Welcome to our meeting near the end of November. And so as we do normally when we're in person, we start with the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you're able to stand and join me, please do. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, well, thank you all. Glad to have you here. Before we get going, I'm just going to turn it over to Devin for a few little quick Zoom reminders. I know we're becoming super proficient, but you know, maybe there's some newbies that need a little hint here or there. So back to you, Devin.
So yeah, real fast, you've got a mute button for both your sound and your video. Use those judiciously and wisely. And if you are unwise in your muting of yourself or unmuting, I will hunt you down if you're making extra noise and mute you. So don't be surprised. And then that's in the bottom left if you're on a computer. And then in the top right, if you're on a computer, you've got a choice between a gallery view or a speaker view. I recommend gallery view for this time in the meeting, and then speaker view for when our speakers are talking later, or if Barb has the more extended announcements section. And then there are some reactions that you can do, just a little fun thing. You can do like a little party emoji, you can do crying, laughing emoji, you can do a little heart emoji, just to let people know how you're feeling about what they're saying. And then finally, in the participants tab, you can choose to raise your hand. So if you're on a mobile device, you might have to click through a couple menus, but raising your hand helps us identify those people who have questions, or if you want to make an announcement, or if you have guests or visitors. Back to you, President Barb.
Great. Thank you. And so the next part of our meeting, we'll go to some introductions. I'm sure that we have some visitors with us today. So this is where you get to those little Zoom tips, you get to go to the participant button and you get to raise your hand and let us know that either you have a guest or that you are a guest and would like to be introduced. And so if so, then Devin will call on you. So I'm going to turn it back to him again. Devin?
John Kenyon, you have a guest.
I do. My guest is Anna Barker. Anna is joining us here today. She's waving there. She's an assistant adjunct professor at the University of Iowa, and she's a member of the City of Literature Board. She's led several programs for us. She does community read programs kind of during our pandemic time that we've had. She's led people through the Decameron and Paradise Lost and Gilgamesh, and we've got more to come in 2021. So welcome, Anna.
Yeah, welcome. Thanks for joining us today. Ryan Bell, you have a guest.
I have 3 guests, in fact. Yeah, I know. First one is Missy Forbes. Missy works at 4Cs, which is an awesome little nonprofit here in town that helps kids get ready for being able to excel in school. And you want to say hi real quick, Missy? Put you on the spot.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for having me. I'm always honored to be a guest at this awesome Rotary group. So keep up the good work, Rotarians, and thanks for having me.
You're welcome anytime, Missy. My second guest is Tim Carty, who has been a frequent guest of sorts. He runs his own company called Roll Call, which is a pretty cool thing that is able to help communities around the country recruit and attract employees and members of the community so that they're a thriving city like Iowa City is. Tim, you want to say hi real quick?
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me again.
We're going to get Tim as a member one of these days.
One of these days.
And my final guest, this is a first. My wife, Colleen, has never been able to join a Rotary call, but now that they're via Zoom, we're joining, even though she's in Iowa City and I'm in North Liberty right now. But Colleen, you want to say hi real quick?
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you. I've heard you from afar many times in the household. I'm glad I was able to make it this time.
Well, welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us. And to Shaylin, you have your hand up. Your guest with us. Barb's guest again, correct?
Yes, Barb's guest again. I'm the community engagement manager at Shelter House.
Thanks for joining us again. Glad to have you. Is there anyone else that we missed? Didn't get their hand raised? All right, back to you, President Barb.
Great. And Ryan, while you work on a couple of those people for possible membership, I'm going to keep working on to Shaylin there. You know, come on, girl, you've been coming. You know, our meetings are amazing and we are awesome people who do a lot of good work. So come on and join us. All right, so next we're going to move on to announcements. So before we go much further, I do want to say kudos to Anna Moyer-Stone for great work on the Joint Service Club luncheon last week. Although not a luncheon, just an event. I do think that it was great. It was great to hear from President Harold, and it was also great to hear the moment of gratitude from Charlie Funk and to learn more about the other service organizations within our community. So I think that went quite well. Kudos to Anna. I don't think she's on our call today, but I think we all can give her a little round of applause. Next, I do want to go to John Fraser for some good news. John?
Thanks, President Barb. I want to thank everyone in the club who donated to Operation Warm Coat. Our original goal was $2,500, which is slightly more than the first year that I was involved in this, 2014. And we reached a figure of $3,673, which equates to about 215, 216, 217, 217 coats. And there's a little iffy there because of the difference in cost between infant sizes and junior sizes, et cetera, et cetera. But the bottom line is somewhere between 210, 220 children are going to have a warm coat that would not have. And that's a big deal. And I owe a lot of thanks to Deb Ockenfels from AM Rotary, who's been running this project since 2014. And I've been deeply involved with her in sharing sizes and orders and distribution and logistics. And she's a real champion on this, and we owe her a great deal of thanks. I want to point out that I will have some pictures of recipients putting on their coats, but we have to be very careful, and we have to get permission to take photos for fairly obvious reasons. But if you could see the faces of these children, you would know that you put your money in the right place. And I thank you very, very much. The Operation Warm thanks you. And I guarantee you 215 children are going to be very appreciative, even though they don't know who you are. You've done a good thing. So congratulations, outstanding. Thank you.
Another round of applause. If you've ever seen a Gail Moat webinar, she gives you a round of applause. So just think about it. 215 coats, people. That's awesome. Great work. Looks like we have an announcement from Linda Farkas. Linda?
Well, I've got some exciting news. With the we started our intro sessions with our students at West, Liberty, and City. And all of us were a little bit concerned that no one would even come to the intro sessions. We have 21 students interested in going that may potentially be wanting to go from City, 20 from Liberty, and 12 from West. And so they are going to we don't know yet how many are going to go on to the next step to fill out our questionnaire, but I have reason to believe we have budgeted, we could send 10 to each school, and that's with including our partners at the AM Club and their budgets and all the hard work they do for West High. So I think, and I want to let the club know, Iowa City sends out of 300 students that attend in person at World Affairs, we send 30 of them. That is huge compared to any other Rotary club in the world. So I'll keep you updated on how many we select, but it looks like we're going to have a booming year. And I do want to thank everybody who has so generally supported financially this effort, because without you, we couldn't send all these students. So thank you.
That's great. Good work, Linda. This is an amazing committee. If you guys have been thinking about, I'd like to get involved in something, I'm sure you could get involved in the Youth Leadership Committee. They send kids to one camp in Grinnell, that's called RILA, and that's for kids kind of going into their junior year. And then they send kids to a school outside of Milwaukee, the World Affairs Seminar, which that brings kids from all over the world. And it is really amazing how many people our clubs together are able to send. So keep up the good work to that committee. But if you're interested, please reach out to Linda Farkas. Excellent. So next, it looks like Brad Baldus has an announcement. Brad?
Yes, I do. Can you hear me?
We can.
Excellent. So I wanted to circle back on the Rotary sponsored Ronald McDonald House golf outing that did not take place this year due to COVID. Normally this event generates about $50,000 for the local Ronald McDonald House. With no event this year, that did not happen. However, with the generosity of many, including donated golfer registration fees, sponsorships, and adopt a program donations, including some from within our club, we still raised $26,970 for the house. So I think that's pretty good for a COVID year. However, it's about 50%, a little more than 50% of what we normally raise. So we would welcome any additional 2020 donations if anyone was able and willing. I was going to see if I could share my screen quick and just, nope, I can't. Host disabled participant screen sharing. So I can't share my screen.
We fixed it. You can do it now.
You can do it.
Okay, let's see if I can, there it is. So we've shown this before with some announcements that on the Ronald McDonald House website, there is this adopt a program page where you can choose specific dollar amounts to donate for specific purposes to help children and their families that are receiving health care. And I will put the link to this site in the chat room. But just wanted to throw one more plug in that if anyone is able and interested to help contribute to the Ronald McDonald House for this year to bring our $26,970 total up closer to our normal $51,000, we would welcome it. And that is it for me.
Great, thank you, Brad. So I would advise you go look at that in the chat when he gets that posted. It's a super, super easy way to support the golf outing and the Ronald McDonald House. You can do it from a toy all the way down to supporting a family for a night or for a week, etc. And so, you know, I think the committee's done a great job of kind of pivoting in this COVID year and trying to figure out how else can we do this. Yes, it's not as fabulous as golfing, but it's maybe even easier, right? And the win, like, it's super easy, right? In comparison to maybe lying about your golf score. So I think this is a great opportunity. I hope that you will consider it. I do want to make sure that you all know that next Thursday, we will not be meeting. And I know you will miss us all terribly, but you will instead be enjoying your Thanksgiving, which I am sure will be very different this year. And, you know, I know for myself, last year I hosted 25 people in my home, and I kind of, you know, it's a lot of work. Okay, let's just say that. It's a lot of work. And I was kind of like, I don't know if I want to do it the next year. And you know what? If I could, I would do it this year. But unfortunately, we can't. So we're all going to be safe, but we're not going to have a meeting next week. However, we will be back in 2 weeks. And the other thing I want you to know is that on December 31st, we did a quick poll a couple of weeks ago, and people were definitely interested in meeting in one way or the other. So on December 31st, we're going to have an unusual meeting. Okay, it's going to be entertaining. It's going to be fun. We're going to do some Zoom rooms, maybe a crazy poll, maybe a little trivia, and in addition, some entertainment from some Rotarians as well. So if you want to just have an enjoyable lunch hour, join us on New Year's Eve. And if anybody has any ideas of what we could add to that program, please reach out to me. I'd love to have some ideas and other support. So next, before we move into our program, I want to introduce Carol Tippy from the Birdhouse. So Carol is here because the Birdhouse is one of the community organizations that our club supported when we became a supplemental funder with the Community Foundation of Johnson County. And this was when we pulled some money from our resources in order to help some of the organizations that have been affected by COVID. And so Carol's going to just tell us a little bit about what we're helping to support. Carol? I know she's here. Maybe she's muted. Do we see her, Devin?
She is still on the call,
She's
and
still...
she is muted.
Okay.
Myself. There we go.
Oh, yay.
Thank you from the Birdhouse, and I speak to you from the Birdhouse today. I've been so thankful to the Noon Rotary for many projects over the years, and we have been having people meet out in the picnic shelter that you all helped to build with the fire pit. We have been it's been so great of the weather to last a little longer for people to go outside and be together with 10 or less of their family members. So I just wanted to first say that we had a birthday party for a 90-year-old out in the picnic shelter, and have used that picnic shelter a lot this COVID season. It was not hurt by the Dorico storms. We had another tree that came down near there onto our garage, but all of that has been fixed. And the picnic shelter is so strong that it lived through everything. And the Birdhouse is care for people at the end of life, as many of you know, because I know many of you in person. And we have had 235 people here now for end of life care. And during COVID, we have been having family members be able to come. 2 designated family members can come into the house and be there with their loved ones as they approach death. So we've been very careful about COVID, and part of your funds, $2,500 you gave to our organization, along with another family fund that gave us another $1,000. And that has been helping us pay for COVID supplies, for some of the repair that wasn't covered by our insurance with Dorico, with some of the patient care and expenses, because some of our fundraising has not been able to happen this year either, just like the shelter house project you were just talking about. So we very much appreciate the $2,500. We are full most of the time. When I talked to you the last time, we were still growing. We are almost 5 years old now. So since July, we have had 95% occupancy. And I have a list of 15 people that are waiting to get into the birdhouse. So it's become more well-known in the community because of you and because of the way that families have been compassionately cared for around here. So when the COVID clears, we hope that you will come and visit us. We have been COVID-free at the facility, even with our little bit of relaxation, although we check people's temperatures and their symptoms. There is a big bubble around the birdhouse that has been helping us stay COVID-free at this point. So we are not taking care of COVID patients, but because we can't isolate them enough in a smaller home, but we have stayed COVID-free as a staff and with our patients. And the care is possible through gifts in the community, like you have provided. So thank you, thank you, thank you very much.
Great. Well, thank you, Carol, and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
I know, actually, when we built the fire pit and did some of that work, I was out there once or twice, even with Brad Baldus. He and I were working on some of the back there. And to be able to walk through that house, what a wonderful setting, what wonderful service that you're doing for people at this time, like both for the people who are going to pass, but for their family members. You're just doing really wonderful, good work. So
thank you very much. Thanks. We really appreciate that the community is now feeling like they're owning having it here. And some days we think maybe we should have an additional house, but one house is plenty to run. And we certainly appreciate. We will have our golf tournament on July 5th next year. Hopefully by then we'll all be vaccinated. And we we'll have our regular bird bash in April early, when we will celebrate finishing our first 5 years of service to families. So thank you, thank you.
Great, congratulations. It's a great, great facility. So keep it up.
Thanks.
So next we are going to our Rotary moment of gratitude and positivity. And this week we will hear from Ed Cranston. Ed?
Hey, thanks, President Barb, and hello, everybody. And really, what an opportune time for a Rotary moment of gratitude than doing this during our last meeting before Thanksgiving. So really, even with the multiple challenges that we have faced and continue to face, I find many things to be grateful for. I'm grateful for our frontline healthcare workers who tirelessly provide a safer community for us, especially during this pandemic. I'm grateful that I'm cancer-free, and I'm grateful for the love of my wife, my children, and my wonderful grandchildren. I'm grateful that I'm able to join with others to help provide access to education for impoverished young girls in Pakistan, and that's a very difficult part of the world. We can all be grateful for this Iowa City Noon Rotary Club with President Barb, our 10 board members, and really the number of service clubs that came together last week to join us. The Lions, the Pilot Club, the Optimus, the Kiwanis, the other Rotary clubs, really sharing ways that we can make a difference and that we do make a difference for those that are less fortunate in our community as well as the international communities. I feel grateful to live in the Iowa City area, to live in Johnson County, to live in Iowa. And I feel positive as our country works to meet the moral challenges through the power of democracy. So yes, as we approach Thanksgiving, even with the ongoing major challenges that we face, I know I have a lot to be thankful for. So back to you, President Barr.
Great. Thank you very much, Ed. I appreciate hearing from you and that perspective. I think I agree with you. We do all have a lot to be thankful for. So next, we'll actually move to our program. So I'm going to turn it over to Ryan Bell, who's going to be featured as well as moderate our discussion today. Ryan?
Thank you, President Barb. I had to change venues real quick. I was getting a little bit of noise where I was sitting before, so now I'm comfortably in my van. Today's discussion is built to be a panel discussion surrounding some of the challenges that our business community has faced in the eyes of COVID. We're going to be talking to both Shawn Hedlund, a dentist in town, and Bobby Thompson, who is a hair salon owner and a partner of mine in a restaurant here in North Liberty, about businesses that are, super high touch, high contact type businesses, at least historically, and how we have gone about, reworking the business models to some extent where necessary, and how we're working hard to rise above COVID and keep our guests and customers and patients safe, but still continue some element of business as normal. So Bobby is finishing a haircut right now. And so he hasn't quite joined us, I don't believe yet. So we're going to start things off more with Shawn. And first I'm going to introduce Shawn. For those you don't know, he is a member of our club. So most of you probably do know him. Shawn graduated from the dental school in 1991 here at the University of Iowa. And he practiced his residency at the University of Minnesota. So I guess he doesn't care who wins the Floyd of Rosedale Trophy. I'm guessing he would prefer Iowa brings that one home, but you can comment on that in a bit, Shawn. He started a family dental practice with his dad back in 1992 and has held professional positions for the Iowa Dental Association and continues to obviously practice to this day. So Shawn, just, kind of a Q&A here. In the world of dental practice, you're, right up in people's mouths, obviously, and very close contact, maybe of any profession, maybe some of the closest contact. So how in your practice have you guys pivoted, and what did you do back in March right away, and what are you continuing to do now to keep your patients safe?
Well, I kind of first want to say that we haven't changed all that much. It's more of a kind of a window dressing change, as in we've always worn PPE and we've always done what we've done. The things that we have changed mostly is how we get a patient into the office, and we've with a little history, we after we were shut down for about 8 weeks, the American Dental Association and the CDC, the researcher type people, got together and just said, how are we going to get the dentist back to work? Initially, I think we were shut down because we were worried about PPE. And when we got to work, back to work after about 8 weeks of being shut down, the requirement was that we have enough PPE to do our practice. Well, some good ordering and stuff, so we were able to start right away. But the question is, what did we change? We've changed how we call the patients the day before or Friday before a Monday appointment, and make sure that everything is going and that they're not sick, and then when they get there, we have been having people wait in their cars. We have no waiting rooms anymore in the office, technically, because we don't want interaction and great social distancing. We also check their temperature, give them hand sanitizer, so they come in and they're clean. I mean, they start off at least. And then we take them directly back to where they're going to be treated. So there's never time that they stop in the office. And we've put in air purifiers in each operatory to help that. And we've also put on our cold air return in our thing. Our heating and cooling people have this ultralight thing that is pretty cool. And we also have a ultraviolet light that is proven to be 99% effective. And we take that throughout the rooms of our operatories. And all we do is shut the door, and it kind of nukes all the surfaces. So, and we have changed a couple things. We launder everybody's coats and scrubs at the office. So we walk in with our street clothes and walk out. It's been really weird to walk in with jeans and a t-shirt, I'll tell you that much. For 28 years of wearing nice button-down shirts, this is the first button-down shirt today. I put it on for you guys, otherwise it would be a t-shirt. But we also bought some UV boxes. So the N95 or KN95 masks that we've been using, it's big enough to put one of those in to help, so we can change them between patients, and then they're kind of disease-free between. So our hygienist, and when we're working, it really works well. Other than that, we haven't changed all that much. We've just always done that, and us and maybe the people in the operating room that understand it. I've had many physicians that have come in and said, well, it's taken me a lot longer because we have to do all this stuff. Well, we've been doing that for years and years. So that's the biggest difference. And learning how to not be on vacation and be gone for 8 weeks. Other than that, I was living the dream then.
Yeah, well, I mean, you minimize some of the precautions you've taken, but there are a lot. Tell us more about some of that air purification. Is that, can you tell a difference? Is it unnoticeable?
No, it's such small little particles that we are fighting this. And that's the problem with this whole COVID thing, is the size of the particles, and you just don't know. And then the symptomatic, asymptomatic people that could have it, and you just don't know. So my suggestion, even if you think you have a little bit of a cold, think that you're positive, and you may want to get checked out. And hopefully testing will be really, really easy and easier to get, but don't take any chances. And we will, if we think that we've had as the office, we will just send people home and make them get a test and come back. And if it's negative and something didn't happen. So it's really hard when you think you could have a little sniffle and it could be it, and that's your only symptom.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine the precautions in the medical industry are even more tantamount because, of the the easy ability, like you said, to pass this along. So,
but it's been pretty safe across the U.S. I mean, we've treated millions and millions of patients, and they really haven't, which is really hard to determine, but they really haven't shown that it's been passed between patient and dental staff, or from dental staff to patient. So it's been a relatively very, very safe place to be, because we've always used the precautions. And doggone it, your dog is cute.
Thank you. They are. There's two of them bouncing around back there, but little added entertainment for you. Awesome. You know, one quick question, and then I did see Bobby join, so we'll introduce him and kind of broaden this out a little bit. But the UV light that you use and mentioned, is that to clean your utensils and your different operating?
No, that's never changed. We have a steam autoclave that it does that. We wash the things in a solution, ultrasonic, and then we put it into our autoclave. That, and then we wrapped them, and so they're always sterile until we break them open. But no, that, as I said, not what I've told you is basically the only thing we've changed, because we've always wiped down our things, and we just added some more precautions and the way we think about doing it. And we're adding, when we're wearing a little bit more stuff when we're creating aerosol type procedures. But other than that, yeah.
Cool. Good. Well, let me kind of pivot a little bit, and I'll introduce our other panelist here. Bobby, hopefully you're on and you can hear me. I saw you join, so I'm just going to plow into this introduction here and hope there's somebody on the other end of it. Bobby runs a salon in downtown Iowa City called Thompson and Company with his wife, Kayla. He's really, in a short time, kind of put the salon on the map as far as being well recognized, both here locally with some awards he's won, and really even internationally. He's been invited to some very prestigious things in Britain, and partaken in a lot of kind of advanced training in that way. He's a winner of the, like I said, BBA USA Hall of Fame competition, which he graduated. He does have a degree from the University of Iowa as well, and then entered the hair industry, really determined to build a salon experience for every person. And when you walk into his salon, you get that, and you see where and how he did that. He's a member of the Intercoiffure North America, Canada, served on Iowa's Board of Cosmetology, and is a member of the Arojo Ambassador Art Team. Bobby, are you there? Come on, Bobby. Well, luckily, I helped Bobby retrofit his salon back in March, and prepared for one thing I wanted to mention. That was a cool thing I saw that sprung out of the Mercy Care facility, is the Masks of Wellness program. A lot of you have probably seen the mask image around on businesses. And basically what that is a certification that you are up to the standards. You've, studied and understand a lot of the things Shawn mentioned, of how to bring a guest into your facility, check the, temperatures. He touched on making sure that they sanitize right there and then, because you don't know where they've been. And then also, one thing I know they do at the salon is that when they take the temperature check, they also have you sign in and basically verify that you don't have any symptoms at all. So that's kind of, your added, kind of the Rotary 4-way test check almost of, is this fair to all concerned that we cut your hair today? And so a lot of the typical retrofitting was done with your partitions and basically separating guests. But I know now they've kind of gone down that same road as Shawn and had a local, actually, maybe if Alyssa Brandt Jarrett's on the phone, she can comment, but her air conditioning company installed one of these air purifiers. And now Shawn said he couldn't notice a difference, but I've heard Bobby say that he has been able to notice a difference in the air and actually wants to get one installed at his home now because he's so head over heels with the technology. So other things, Bobby, if you're there, please jump in because I'm
What's up?
Yay!
Hi guys.
Welcome, my friend.
I just got done cutting about 12 inches of hair off a young gentleman who is donating it, and we did a really cool mullet mohawk. So keep your eyes open. So it was well worth it.
Nice. Well, thanks for making the time. Hopefully you heard the introduction and all your accolades. And welcome to the call. You know, I just tried to do justice in a nutshell, all the changes you made in the salon. Anything I missed there? Did you catch that, or what else have you guys done?
So I just kind of snuck in on the end part of it. You know, for us, it was a very important thing. We work with people and we're in the people business. And being in the people business, you know, not only is our clientele, our guests, our friends coming in very important to us, but so is our stylist. So it was about a week before actually that we were mandated to close down. We had made the decision, my wife and I, to shut down Thompson & Co. at that time. And, you know, it was one of those things that was a really tough decision, but we knew that we had to get ahead of this as much as we could because there, you know, unfortunately there is no pandemic handbook. So what we did is we shut down that week and we went to work. We have good friends over at Mercy Hospital and friends at the University of Iowa hospitals that we consulted with and kind of talked about what their procedures were in place. What were they doing? Not only from the aspect of the pandemic standpoint, but also like even just as basic as like operating room procedures. You know what I mean? That's got to be a clean space. So we started to kind of think or switch our thought process of it being a salon into almost like an operating room, and how can we make it that clean? You know, a couple things that they started with was just, you know, screening, you know, something as basic as that, knowing who's coming in the door, but knowing, you know, what to look for in symptoms, you know, fever, which is defined as anything of 100.3 or higher, was one of the symptoms that they said that we should look for. So we got not the touchless thermometers. We then said, you know, we kind of drew a line in the sand right away, and we did have some fight back with this, but we said that masks were going to be mandatory from day one. You know, I know we do a lot of beard work and things like that. And for the first couple of weeks, we actually stopped doing any beards or blow drying just because there wasn't enough information out there. But then we also invested a lot of our time and our money into PPEs, you know, gloves, masks, shields. We have hand sanitizer station the minute you walk in. Then we have, you know, a place where you kind of sign off and state that you don't have symptoms, but then we have another hand sanitizer there. And we actually do a little video. I believe yours truly, Ryan Bell, was also in that video talking about, you know, touching things. And it was actually kind of showing how we trace touch throughout the salon and how to make sure that you're sanitized throughout that touching process. And it was a big deal for us, not only to put that on paper. You know, the first thing when you look at our website, we do have a COVID-19 tab right at the very front part of it, talking about all the things that we've done, but we also put out some videos. We made sure that we really used our social media platform to share what we were doing, why we were doing, and how we were doing it. And that helped a lot. I know, Ryan, you had talked about Alyssa and Brandt Heating and Air. They've been great. They you know, Bill and Alyssa both kind of broke down what their thoughts were. They suggested and consulted on what they felt was for our business the best, which was a halo machine. And what that does is have a little bit of blue light and circulates new air. I believe it's like don't quote me, but I think it's like every half hour in a 5,000 square foot space. Now, Thompson & Co. is a 1,500 square foot space approximately. So we're guessing because of that, we're having new fresh air that takes care of the allergens, you know, bacteria, viruses. And it sounds weird, but I've noticed less dust accumulation since even getting it installed this last week. I've had stylists come up and say stuff to us about like breathing and actually how they feel like it's helped their breathing. And like you said, we actually did invest in one in our home. It was installed earlier this morning. So yeah,
there you go.
And it's one of those things that, you know, we went into this, we had a plan, we decided to stick to it. But we're also, it's like a good football coach. We're always open to and ready to call an audible when we learn more. So, you know, I think the continued education, the continued communication with our medical staff friends, you know, has been also huge.
Yeah, you bring up a good point there with the audible. And we'll change gears here to the restaurant industry a little bit, and, you know, just absolutely, you know, hit it head on that within our restaurant, we've had the challenge of being on the phone with Johnson County Health and trying to figure out, as of today anyway, what are the contact tracing methods, you know, who has been in contact with who. So walk us through that a little bit. What have you seen in the restaurant world, and how did you apply some of your learnings from the salon to properly open the restaurant?
First off, Johnson County Public Health has become like our best friend. So, you know, they're on like speed dial. Yeah, you know, it's again, it's a communication, right? You know, we took the information that they would give us, we would work with them on their recommendations, and we would actually, you know, kind of step by step explain what situations we had, what scenarios. We're lucky, and I'm going to throw out a number, you know, knock on wood, but I'm very proud of this, is that we've had over 7,000 reservations back through Thompson & Co. Salon, and we've had 0 incidents up to this point. And, you know, it's a little bit easier to do the 6 feet distancing and the mask wearing and stuff like that in the salon space. You know, the restaurant became really tricky, because it's not that the rules changed, but the rules got a little bit more kind of, you know, based on your best thoughts about it. It almost became kind of, and it was like, you know, you'd work with Johnson County Public Health and they gave you some standards to follow, but it was also like, you know, we think you're doing a good job. You know, in a kitchen, it's hard, right? Kitchens can get busy. People can be moving around. People can be on a line and kind of jumping back and forth. You know, that 15 minute of contact, you know, with a mask on, you know, was kind of a gray area at times where we didn't know where that to be, but that was something that we tried to do, where we tried to make sure that our staff would move, would change stations, would, you know, kind of rotate around a little bit. You know, we made it mandatory pretty much from day one. Again, we did a video, social media, but we made it mandatory that our kitchen staff had masks on, had gloves on, you know, that they practice 6 feet social distancing as best of their ability. Servers, mask on. The minute you come in, you know, it was, we had a shield, a plexiglass shield put up. You know, this last week has been a little bit more difficult, right? You know, cases have gone up. We're in a pretty tight jam. I know as a group, you know, we finally decided that it was probably best bet that we shut down inside operation for the time being, and we moved to an online ordering. And we're shooting out a new menu that's going to be more accessible, more friendly for online purchases, and we'll be able to travel better, a little bit more approachable. But you know, it was a difficult situation, and I think the salon definitely helped put us in a level of control where we maybe didn't know exactly the exact, you know, precautions that we should take, but we had a good outline for it. So
yeah, I think, and you're right too. The challenging thing with all this, and everybody on this call has had their own challenges with it in either their daily life or their job or whatever, but it's been that change and that fluctuation of, you know, just kind of working through the unknown and trying to plan for the unknown, and having that plan change because it's impossible to really guess what was going to happen. So yeah, I mean, that's great information. I don't know, we're about 10 minutes from 1, so we can take any questions if anybody wants to put questions into the chat, or just jump onto them. What else do you think, Bobby? What do you think is is gonna, kind of pull a restaurant or a high service type business back into the normal?
That's a good question. Back into the normal, I think that's the first thing with that is kind of identifying what the normal is, what that normal looks like. We've gone through a pretty rough year as a society in general, right? And there's been a lot. The thing with all of this is that there's been so much inconsistencies, and the knowledge, or knowing what this virus is, we're learning more about it every day. So I think the more that we can identify what the virus is, I think once we get a vaccine, I think once we understand, what kind of new technologies are coming out for keeping people distance. I know the igloo thing was a big thing for restaurants, and I don't know if what these are is these big kind of domed shaped plastic igloos that go over table sections to keep people separated from other people. I think you're just going to see more technology advancements quicker, and people start thinking outside the box. So I think constant learning and re-educating yourself on how you do business every single day isn't like something you should do. It's something that you're going to have to do. So I don't know. It's kind of a rounded answer, but
it was a tough question, so you're off the hook.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So I have a question, Ryan. Actually,
Yeah.
It's for Bobby. So Bobby, you talked about the challenges of doing hair, doing beards. I know, like when I've gotten my hair cut, I have to have my mask on, and at some point I unloop it and hold it in place so that he can work, around my ears. How the heck do you do a beard?
very carefully. There's some things that we can and we can't do. I mean, it's just that simple. What we've actually learned is a process of being able to pull the beard to the chin level. And we actually use a brush a lot of the time now to blow dry and straighten that out. Almost as if it was, like whenever you get something more tension in, you get more of an exact cut. So what we found is by getting the hair actually blow dried underneath here, we can create more of a straight, tense shape and be able to cut that underneath. There's a couple things that couple rules we have with beards just in general, and most people's masks cover this area. We like to start our lines right at the break of the neck. So really that's not a masked area. So we can cut a lot of that. Some of the things you do, you can separate and pull this down. But there are some ways that you can actually brush the beard out underneath first and get a lot of that beard hair. Stuff around the edges, what we've done more with that is kind of an at-home tutoring session. We've done some videos, we've done some things of that nature to talk about how to do that self-care at home. Just for the time being, until we can get back to a stage of normalcy where we can do that.
Kind of fascinating. I have to, being a non-beard wearer,
Yeah.
not something I'm familiar with. Now, I do know something else about you, Bobby, is that you are actually involved with the West High football team. Is that right?
I am. Coach T. Yeah, that's me. Yeah, heck yeah.
Okay. So what do you do? What's your position? What side?
Yeah, I'm a varsity running backs coach at West High, and we just finished a season that was definitely different, but man, super proud of the guys. We had one loss, and it was to see the kids adapt and to see them face adversity. I mean, I kind of say it sometimes that high school football should be a class with how much they learn, and working as a team, adversity, getting through challenges. It was so present on how amazing these young men and women, because Phoebe Burt was one of our players this year, how amazing they really are and adaptive, and man, it's a bright future ahead of us. I can tell you that with these kids going.
Yeah, it was definitely a challenging season because they kind of started, they stopped, then they got to start again. My husband and I watched the live streams, And, you know, it broke their heart when they lost that last game. You know, I think Marcus Morgan is an amazing quarterback and a great athlete that we are going to see in some sport at various levels. But it was, you know, so kudos to you for working with our area youth and the football team. It was, you know, I think they had a great year and a really weird year. So
they had a great year through all the things. And when you say Marcus, I'm going to take a second just to say what a great kid that is. He's obviously an amazing athlete. But whoever he chooses to go to school at is getting an amazing person. And you want to talk about a leader, the kid's definition of it. So.
Absolutely. And really giving of himself, you know, in talking to his mom, Chris, you know, his grandparents are elderly. He's always willing to do whatever he can for them. He's, you know, he's a great, great kid. So
he's actually having a little procedure done today. So if we can all just give him a second positivity sent his way, it'd be good news, you know, rock and roll. So
awesome. Back to you, Ryan.
Yeah, thanks. We have time for one more question, it looks like. Does anybody have?
Yeah,
final?
I've got a question related to sustainability, both in the dental industry, hair salons, restaurants. Like what will it need to look like to get you back to a sustainable point? My guess is maybe dentistry is sustainable even at this current level, maybe the salon, but I'm curious, like, are you there or not? And what needs to change to get you there? Hey, Shawn, if you're still there, I don't know if you want to.
I saw Shawn dropped, but he might have joined again. Shawn, are you there?
I am here. Just on my way back to work. So I'm mobile and I'm not going to show a video. This is.
We're not getting you coming through, Shawn. Hey, Shawn. You want to maybe mute? Sorry, Shawn, we're not hearing you at all. Bobby, what are your thoughts? I mean, you know, we can comment on the restaurant industry. It's definitely way down and needs, you know, it needs some help, needs probably some PPP type funding from the government, you know, again. And we're going to make a go of doing a to-go and delivery option and almost running a beautiful space of a restaurant as a food truck, almost a very stationary food truck. But I think one thing this thing has done is just force people to think outside the box and kind of come up with creative ideas on how to adapt and survive. Even my little marketing business, Locals Love Us, I've changed a lot of different little nuances to how I approach that. So I don't think there's anybody that is working that hasn't seen probably some changes in their company and how they operate that'll probably stay around, you know, maybe forever, because it's a more efficient way of doing things or safer. You know, we're not going to forget this pandemic. We're not going to turn into people that, you know, forget to wash their hands or any of that stuff probably ever again. Hopefully ever again. We're smarter than that.
Yeah, I think you really strike a good point there, Ryan, is that so for Thompson and Co. sustainability wise, I think there's two things that were really important for us. And we're making it. We're doing all right. You know, it's we're blessed that we had a really great group or community that supported us ahead of time. You know what I mean? And we had kind of had laid down our groundwork and our base of business, you know, this last 5 years where our community really helped pick us up. I mean, I remember when we shut down, we were getting gift card orders left and right. I know Ryan, you know, Alyssa were some of our supporters, and it was amazing. And, you know, I think really those personal relationships really helped us sustain. But also, you know, kind of trying to be honest, open, and communicative to our guests of what is going on, what struggles we are having, what are the things that we are doing, and we're just trying to be honest, you know. And I think people really appreciated that. I'll be honest, some of our business has actually gone up a little bit because they actually have appreciated the transparency and the constant movement to try to keep people safe. People want that sense of normalcy and want to feel that sense of safety at the same time. And, one of the things with a haircut is, it's people are at home right now, right? We're doing the Zoom meeting right now. And like a lot of the times we're surrounding ourselves with mirrors and ourselves, and it's lonesome. And if you haven't looked, some of the stats on depression levels and things like that are really scary. And what a haircut has been able to do is kind of not only give that sense of normalcy, but make somebody feel good when it's not a time of being able to feel good much. So we've been lucky like that. And, through all this, I know one thing that no one can say through this entire pandemic is that they haven't learned something about themselves or how to adapt. And I think out of every really negative thing comes some really beautiful growth, as bad as it can be right now. And for me, I will never forget this, and I've learned lessons that I will go forward the rest of my life from what I have experienced with my wife, with my family, with my salon family, with my, my restaurant family and the community around. So, there will, out of all darkness comes a little light, and we'll get there. It's just going to be a little bit of time.
Excellent.
Nice.
Thank you so much. So I just really want to share my appreciation to you, Bobby and Shawn and Ryan for kind of sharing your perspective of the things that you are going through. I think this is a really good reminder to people, the importance that in these challenging times that we buy local. Okay. It is super easy to get on your computer and order those Christmas gifts through Amazon. Yeah, it is. But you know what? You could do a lot of really good stuff by supporting local organizations. And if you yourself don't feel comfortable going into a store wearing a mask downtown Iowa City or in Coralville, you can call them. They can, they are even doing online ordering for a bunch of the different merchants and businesses in downtown Iowa City. And I think more than any other holiday season, it is really, really important for us to all kind of keep that in our minds. Buy local, buy local. Okay, so please do that. Bobby, Shawn, and Ryan, I want to just make sure that you all know that in honor of your, spending the time with us today, sharing your perspective, our Rotary Club will donate to Rotary International's Polio Plus program in your name. And that donation will actually be doubled by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and will provide 70 vaccinations of polio to people who need it around our world. So thank you for your support and for contributing today. If there is no other business, I invite you all, if you would like to unmute your microphones, you can, for the cacophony that we call the four-way test. So please join me in all of the things that we think.
Things we say or do. Is it the truth? Is it spiritual concern? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Great. Thank you all. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. Thank you all. Thanks, Bobby. Hey, Bobby, by the way, I am JT's mom. Justin.
Oh, yeah. JT's my man. Heck yeah.
I know.
How did he did pretty good this year, didn't he? He had a pretty good year. Was he snapping?
He's, they've been practicing, but they haven't had a season yet. And they hope to have like maybe a short, at first I thought it was going to be 5. Now it's going to be 3-game season in the spring. But